switch it up. So as you can tell from the title of this video, this is 1,000 facts. And if you do the math, 450 took an hour and a half. So 1,000 is going to take over 3 hours. Probably. I'll probably speed it up. I also might not be able to do this in one sitting because it's already 1 a.m. and I don't think I could go till 4 a.m. That's just really weird to think about, but yeah, it's true. Another disclaimer is that the writer of these facts, which is on hubpages.com, hubpages.com, the writer, the author says that they may or may not be true. They don't know. Also, I looked at the comments at the bottom of the page, and people said that some are repeated, and people have pointed out a few that are wrong. So I'm sorry if you are using this for a fact checker, because you should probably not do that. Also, I'm not going to count to 1,000, so I don't know if this is actually 1,000 or not. If you want to sit there and count every one that I read, please let me know if it's 1,000 or not. But with the disclaimer out of the way, let's get started. Butterflies cannot fly if their body temperature is less than 86 degrees. Neurons multiply at a rate of 250,000 neurons per minute during early pregnancy. I already have to clear my throat, that's not a good sign. Elephants have the longest pregnancy in the animal kingdom at 22 months. The longest human pregnancy on record is 17 months, 11 days. That does not sound comfortable. A female oyster produces 100 million young in her lifetime. The typical hen lays 19 dozen eggs a year. And it is possible for one female cat to be responsible for the birth of 20,736 kittens in 4 years. Michelle Drugger holds the record for largest human family, having given birth to 17 children. That was a long fact, and I almost didn't get through it. I'm glad I did. 750 milliliters of blood pump through your brain every minute, which is 15 to 20% of blood flow from the heart. The human brain is about 75% water. I think that's pretty consistent with the rest of our body as well. Dragonflies are capable of flying 60 miles per hour, making them one of the fastest insects. This is good since they are in a big hurry, as they only live about 24 hours. I think one of the comments at the bottom said that was wrong, but I don't know. I think they said that they live longer than 24 hours. Flies jump backwards during takeoff. A housefly will regurgitate its food and eat it again. Termites outweigh humans by almost 10 to 1. I guess that means like overall, or maybe based on its size, I don't know. A spider's web is not a home, but rather a trap for its food. They are as individual as snowflakes, with no two ever being the same. Some tropical spiders have built webs over 18 feet across. More people are afraid of spiders than death. Amazingly, few people are afraid of champagne corks, even though you are more likely to be killed by one than by a spider. Your brain consumes 25 watts of power while you're awake. This amount of energy is enough to illuminate a light bulb. It is impossible to lick your elbow. I think that's also false because people have different stretchiness of their tongue and shorter arms. I'm sure it's possible. Intelligent people have more zinc and copper in their hair. In every episode of Seinfeld, there is a Superman somewhere. Possums have one of the shortest pregnancies at 16 days. The shortest human pregnancy to produce a healthy baby was 22 weeks, 6 days. by 700 times. The most poisonous spider is the black widow. Its venom is more potent than a rattlesnake's. Yep, they're dangerous. 13% of Americans actually believe that some parts of the moon are made of cheese. I don't understand how anybody could think that. If you are one of the 13%, please let me know and give me your argument, and I will listen, and I will not agree with you. The world's youngest parents were 8 and 9 and lived in China in 1910. Fish that live more than 800 meters below the ocean surface don't have eyes. Butterflies range in size from a tiny 1/8 of an inch to a huge almost 12 inches. Some case moth caterpillars build a case around themselves that they always carry with them. It is made out of silk and pieces of plants or soil. Most household dust is made of dead skin cells. 1 in 8 million people has progeria, a disease that causes people to grow faster than they age. Cool. The male seahorse carries the eggs until they hatch inside of the female. Negative emotions such as anxiety and depression can weaken your immune system. Stephen Hawking was born exactly 300 years after Galileo died. Mercury is the only planet whose orbit is coplanar with its equator. The Morgan's Sphinx moth from Madagascar has a proboscis that is 12 to 14 inches long to get the nectar from the bottom of a 12-inch deep orchid discovered by Charles Darwin. That proboscis, it says, is a tube mouth. I guess it's their mouth, I don't know. Some moths never eat anything as adults because they don't have mouths. They must live on the energy they stored as caterpillars. In 1958, entomologist W.G. Bruce published a list of arthropod references in the Bible. The most frequently named bugs from the Bible are locust, 24, moth, 11, grasshopper, 10, scorpion, 10, caterpillar, 9, and bee, 4. Get it? B4? Like bingo? No, just kidding. People eat insects called entomophagy. It has been practiced for centuries throughout Africa, Australia, Asia, and the Middle East, and North and South America, because many bugs are both protein-rich and good sources of vitamins, minerals, and fats. Grapes explode when you put them in the microwave. Ramses brand condom is named after the great pharaoh Ramses. I guess it's probably his Ramses, I don't know. Ramses II, who fathered over 160 children. Peanuts are one of the ingredients of dynamite. The average chocolate bar has 8 insect legs in it. That's cool. It's good protein. We just learned that, didn't we? In New York, it is perfectly legal to shoot a Scotsman with a bow and arrow, except on Sundays. No piece of square dry paper can be folded in half more than 7 times. That was disproven by Mythbusters. They got a piece of paper that was like 250 feet by 250 feet, and they did it. The average human eats 8 spiders in their lifetime at night. I believe that's also disproven. The Beetham Tower cost over $150 million to build. The Beetham Tower has 47 floors. What a fact. What a fact. I don't even know what the Beetham Tower is, but I'm glad I know it has I'm glad I know it cost 150 million pounds to build and has 47 floors. Stewardesses is the longest word typed with only the left hand. I think that was in my last fact video. An average human loses about 200 head hairs per day. Mexico City sinks about 10 inches a year. It is impossible to sneeze with your eyes open. In France, a 5-year-old child can buy an alcoholic drink in a bar. During the chariot scene in Ben-Hur, a small red car can be seen in the distance. Because metal was scarce, the Oscars given out during World War II were made out of wood. By raising your legs slowly and lying on your back, you cannot sink into quicksand. The glue on Israeli postage is certified kosher. In 10 minutes, a hurricane releases more energy than all of the world's nuclear weapons combined. Nuclear. I said that really weird. On average, 100 people choke to death on ballpoint pens every year. Those people need to change something about their lives. 35% of the people who use personal ads for dating are already married. The electric chair was invented by a dentist. I think that was in my last video too. The top butterfly flight speed is 12 miles per hour. Some moths can fly 25 miles per hour. The brimstone butterfly has the longest lifetime of the adult butterflies, which is 9 to 10 months. Bruce Lee was so fast that he actually had to slow films down so you could see his moves. A Boeing 747's wingspan is longer than the Wright brothers' first flight. That was in my last video too. Representations of butterflies are seen in the Egyptian frescoes at Thebes, which are 3,500 years old. Babies are born without kneecaps. They don't appear until the child reaches 2 to 6 years of age. I believe that was in my last video too. 14% of all facts and statistics are made up, and 27% of people know that fact. I did not know that. I am not one of the few. Every time you lick a stamp, you're consuming a tenth of a calorie. That was in my last video. Eskimos have over 15 words for the English word of snow. Butterflies can see red, green, and yellow. I'm starting to get sick of the butterfly facts. Some people say that when the black bands on the woolly bear caterpillar are wide, a cold winter is coming. Americans, on the average, eat 18 acres of pizza every day. I believe that was in my last video as well. Banging your head against the wall uses 150 calories an hour. Almonds are a member of the peach family. I believe that was in my last video. The plastic things on the end of shoelaces are called aglets. I believe that was in the last video. I am apologizing for all of my previously used facts. I'm on a different list, so I can't control it. And I'm going to stop saying that was in my last video, because I'm sure you're getting annoyed of it. Alright. Oh my gosh, long word here. Ithliphalophobia is a morbid fear of seeing, thinking about, or having an erect penis. Okay. The average shelf life of a latex condom is about 2 years. 14% of Americans have skinny dipped with a member of the opposite sex at least once. I am not in that category, go me. Male bats have the highest rate of homosexuality of any mammal. A man's beard grows fastest when he anticipates sex. Oh my gosh. A man will ejaculate approximately 18 quarts of semen in his lifetime. Sex is biochemically no different from eating large quantities of chocolate. I think I did know that. So that just means like you get the same happiness from it or something. It sets off the same cells in your brain. I don't know. I have no idea. Humans and dolphins are the only species that have sex for pleasure. For every normal web page, there are 5 porn pages. Venus observa is the technical term for the missionary position. Sex is the safest tranquilizer in the world. It is 10 times more effective than Valium. Okay, again, getting sick of the sexual ones, just like butterfly ones. Samuel Clemens, Mark Twain, was born on and died on days when Halley's Comet can be seen. US dollar bills are made out of cotton and linen. The 57 on Heinz ketchup bottles represents the number of pickle types the company once had. Americans are responsible for about 1/5 of the world's garbage annually. Giraffes and rats can last longer without water than camels. Your stomach produces a new layer of mucus every 2 weeks so that it doesn't digest itself. 98% of all murders and rapes are by a close family member or a friend of the victim. Okay, so by that fact, disconnect from all of your family members and close friends. Go live in a cave somewhere. It's the only way you can be safe. I promise. A B-25 bomber crashed into the 79th floor of the Empire State Building on July 28, 1945. Wow. The Declaration of Independence was written on hemp, which is marijuana paper. The dot over the letter I is called a tittle. Benjamin Franklin was the fifth in a series of the youngest... Wait, hold on. Let me reread this and make sure I'm reading it right. Benjamin Franklin was the fifth in a series of the youngest son of the youngest son. So Benjamin Franklin was the youngest of his father, who was the youngest of his father, who was the youngest. Five times. Okay. Another long word. All these phobia words are too long. Triskaidekaphobia means fear of the number 13. Another long word here. Another phobia. Paraskevidekatrophobia means fear of Friday the 13th, which occurs 1 to 3 times per year. In Italy, 17 is considered an unlucky number. In Japan, 4 is considered an unlucky number. A female ferret will die if it goes into heat and cannot find a mate. In ancient Rome, when a man testified in court, he would swear on his testicles. The zip in zip code means zoning improvement plan. Coca-Cola contained coca, whose active ingredient is cocaine, from 1885 to 1903. A 2x4, which is a piece of lumber, is really 1.5 by 3.5 inches. It's estimated that at any one time around 0.7% of the world's population is drunk. 40% of McDonald's profits come from the sale of Happy Meals. Every person, including identical twins, have unique eyes, tongue print, along with their fingerprint. Unique eyes and unique tongue print. The spot on the 7-Up logo comes from its inventor, who had red eyes. He was an albino. That's weird. I don't know if I've ever seen an albino human. Or is it just like really pale people? And they're albino in air quotes. 315 entries in Webster's 1996 dictionary were misspelled. The save icon in Microsoft Office programs show a floppy disk with the shutter on backwards. Albert Einstein and Charles Darwin were both married to their first cousins. Camels have 3 eyelids. On average, 12 newborns will be given to the wrong parents every day. That's scary. I feel like hospitals are a little bit better than that, and that fact is probably wrong. Because they put like a little bracelet on their foot, on their ankle, like while they're still in the room with you. I'm pretty sure they do that. So John Wilkes Booth's brother once saved the life of Abraham Lincoln's son. I believe we read that one before as well. Warren Beatty and Shirley MacLaine are brother and sister. Are they famous? I've never heard of those people. Chocolate can kill dogs. It directly affects their heart and nervous system. That's one that most people do know. Daniel Boone hated coonskin caps. That's funny. 55.1% of all prisoners in the United States are in prison for drug offenses. Most lipstick contains fish scales. Dr. Seuss pronounced his name Soyce. That's weird. Slugs have 4 noses. Ketchup was sold in the 1830s as medicine. That'd be some weird tasting medicine, but probably better than like medicine today, like cold medicine that tastes nasty. India has a Bill of Rights for cows. American Airlines saved $40,000 in 1987 by taking out an olive from first-class salads. I believe we know that fact already. About 200 million M&Ms are sold each day in the United States. Okay, here's a repeat one. Because metal was scarce, the Oscars given out during World War II were made out of wood. There are 318,979,564,000 possible combinations of the first 4 moves in chess. Wow. There are no clocks in Las Vegas gambling casinos. So you can lose track of time and spend more money, I bet. Coconuts kill about 150 people each year. That's more than sharks. Half of all bank robberies take place on a Friday. The name Wendy was made up for the book Peter Pan. There was never a recorded Wendy before that. The international telephone dialing code for Antarctica is 672. The first bomb the Allies dropped on Berlin in World War II killed the only elephant in the Berlin Zoo. We already know that. The average raindrop falls at 7 miles per hour. If you put a drop of liqueur on a scorpion, it will instantly go mad and sting itself to death. Oh, here's another repeat. Bruce Lee was so fast that they had to slow down the films so you could see his moves. The first CD pressed in the United States was Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA. IBM's motto is Think. Apple later made their motto Think Different. I feel like Apple is always trolling people, and that doesn't really surprise me. The original name for butterfly was flutterby. 1 in 14 women in America is a natural blonde. Only 1 in 16 men is. The Olympic was the sister ship of the Titanic, and she provided 25 years of service. When the Titanic sank, 2,228 people were on it. Only 706 survived. Every day, 7% of the United States eats at McDonald's. During his entire life, Vincent van Gogh sold exactly 1 painting, Red Vineyard at Arles. I don't know. By raising your leg slowly and lying on your back, you cannot sink into quicksand. That's the 3rd repeat. Whoever wrote this is going to get sued. We will collectively sue this person for all that they own. Because this is just unacceptable. No, I'm kidding. 1 in 10 people live on an island. Actually, 1 in 1 people live on an island because the entire earth is surrounded by water. You dope, okay? I'm right, you're wrong. It takes more calories to eat a piece of celery than celery has in it to begin with. 28% of Africa is classified as wilderness. In North America, it's 38%. I bet a lot of that's Canada, because Canada has a lot of wilderness. Charlie Chaplin once won 3rd prize in a Charlie Chaplin look-alike contest. That's still funny, even though I've already read that one. Chewing gum while peeling onions will keep you from crying. I read that as peeing. Sherlock Holmes never said elementary, my dear Watson. Humphrey Bogart never said play it again, Sam, in Casablanca. They never said beat me up, Scotty, on Star Trek. Sharon Stone was the first Star Search spokesmodel. I don't know what Star Search is. More people are afraid of open spaces, kenophobia, than tight spaces, claustrophobia. There's a 1 in 4 chance that New York will have a white Christmas. Only 1 in 4. The Guinness Book of Records holds the record for being the book most often stolen from libraries. It's so interesting, though. It's so interesting. And probably not worth a read, though. 35% of the people who use personal ads for dating are already married. Okay, that's 4. That is 4 repeats. $203 million is spent on barbed wire each year in the United States. Every U.S. president has worn glasses, just not always in public. I feel like that one would be really easy to lie about. It'd be like, every teacher that's ever taught in the United States wears glasses. They just don't always wear them while they're teaching. Like, you could lie about that really easily. combination of marionette and puppet. The Michelin Man is known as Mr. Bibb. His name was Bibbendum in the company's first ads in 1896. The word lithologica describes the state of not being able to remember the word you want. I feel like I am not going to remember that word, but it would come in handy. About 14% of injecting drug users are HIV positive. That's pretty sad. A word or sentence that is the same front and back, race car, kayak, or examples, is called a palindrome. That is a pretty widely known fact, I believe. A snail can sleep for 3 years. People photocopying their buttocks are the cause of 23% of all photocopier faults worldwide. China has more English speakers than the United States. 1 in every 9,000 people is an albino. Okay, is it albino or is it just super pale person that claims to be albino? There are about 1 million ants per person. Ants are very social animals and will live in colonies that can contain almost 500,000 ants. The electric chair was invented by a dentist. I can't remember if that is on this list previously, but it was on a different list previously. I know that. You share your birthday with at least 9 million other people in the world. Every day, more money is printed for Monopoly sets than for the U.S. Treasury. Every year, 4 people in the UK die putting their trousers on. I bet it's because they don't call them pants. Gotcha, Britain. Cats have over 100 vocal sounds. Dogs have about 10. Our eyes are always the same size from birth, but our nose and ears never stop growing. Excuse me. Okay, as a repeat, in every episode of Seinfeld, there is a Superman picture or reference somewhere. Rats multiply so quickly that in 18 months, 2 rats could have over 1 million descendants. I don't think they actually do that, though. Wearing headphones for just an hour will increase bacteria on your ear by 700 times. That is a repeat. In each year in America, there are about 300,000 deaths that can be attributed to obesity. Yeah, but you could just say, like, I feel like that has a lot of heart attack deaths that are saying just because that they're overweight that they had the heart attack because of that, and that was technically the cause, but I don't know. I'm not writing these facts. Many butterflies can taste with their feet to find out whether the leaf they sit on is good to lay eggs on because they're caterpillars. Okay, this is confusing me. Many butterflies can taste with their feet to find out whether the leaf they sit on is good to lay eggs on to be their caterpillar's food or not. That's really worded weird. There are more types of insects in one tropical rainforest tree than there are in the entire state of Vermont. About 55% of all movies are rated R. About 500 movies are made in the US and 800 in India annually. Arabic numerals are not really Arabic. They were created in India. The February of 1865 is the only month recorded 2/3 of the world's eggplant is grown in New Jersey. I don't know if I've ever eaten eggplant. I don't know if I ever will. I feel like I have enough flavors, good flavors. I don't need to add a new one if it is good, if I like it. I don't know. I don't eat purple foods very often unless it's grapes. Termites have been known to eat food twice as fast when heavy metal music is playing. There are more beetles than any other animal. In fact, 1 out of every 4 animals is a beetle. The rhinoceros beetle is the strongest animal and is capable of lifting 850 times its own weight. On a Canadian $2 bill, the American flag is flying over the Parliament building. That's right, Canada. We own you. No, I'm just kidding. I love Canada. I want to move there. That'd be awesome. An American urologist bought Napoleon's penis for $40,000. No word in the English language rhymes with month, orange, silver, or purple. Dreamt is the only English word that ends in the letters MT. $283,200 is the absolute highest amount of money you can win on Jeopardy! Almonds are members of the peach family. That is a repeat. Rats and horses cannot vomit. The penguin is the only bird that can't fly but can swim. There are approximately 100 million acts of sexual intercourse each day. Winston Churchill was born in a ladies' room during a dance. Maine is the only state whose name is just one syllable. Venus is the only planet that rotates clockwise. Charlie Chaplin once won 3rd prize in a Charlie Chaplin look-alike contest. I feel like we've heard that a million times already. Americans, on average, eat 18 acres of pizza a day. We've heard that a million times. Every time you look at a stamp, you consume 1/10 of a calorie. Okay, this is just getting ridiculous. You are more likely to be killed by a champagne cork than a poisonous spider. We already read that. Hedenophobic means fear of pleasure. That would be a very, very bad phobia to have. Ancient Egyptian priests would pluck every hair from their bodies. Why? A crocodile cannot stick its tongue out. An ant always falls over on its right side when intoxicated. All polar bears are left-handed. The catfish has over 27,000 taste buds, which is more than any other animal. A cockroach will live 9 days without its head before it starves to death. Many insects can carry 50 times their own body weight. This would be like an adult person lifting 2 heavy cars full of people. There are over 1 million described species of insects. Some people estimate there are actually between 15 and 30 million species. Most insects are beneficial to people because they eat other insects, pollinate crops, are food for other animals, make products we use like honey and silk, or have medical uses. Butterflies and insects have their skeletons on the outside of their bodies called an exoskeleton. This protects the insect and keeps water inside their bodies so they don't dry out. Elephants are the only mammals that cannot jump. An ostrich's eyes are bigger than its brain. Starfish have no brain. 11% of the world is left-handed. Rubber bands last longer when refrigerated. The national anthem of Greece has 158 verses. There are 293 ways to make change for $1. A healthy, non-colorblind human eye can distinguish between 500 shades of gray. A pregnant goldfish is called a twit. Lizards can self-amputate their tails for protection. It grows it back after a few months. Los Angeles' full name is El Pueblo de Nuestro Senora La Regina de Los Angeles de Porciúncula. Don't know why you do that. A cat has 32 muscles in each ear. A honeybee can fly 15 miles per hour. Tigers have striped skin, not just striped fur. A jiffy is the scientific name for 1/100th of a second. The average child recognizes over 200 company logos by the time he enters first grade. The youngest pope ever was 11 years old. The first novel ever written on a typewriter his horn is made out of compacted hair. Elwood Edwards did the voice for the AOL sound files, i.e., You've Got Mail. Polar bear skin is black, its fur is actually clear, but like snow it appears white. Elvis had a brother named Gyron who died at birth, which is why Elvis's middle name was Aaron. So his brother's name was Garon, and Elvis's middle name was Aron. Okay. Let me do a couple more, then I need a drink of water. Dueling is legal in Paraguay as long as both parties are registered blood donors. Donkeys kill more people than plane crashes. Shakespeare invented the words assassination and bump. If you keep a goldfish in a dark room, it will eventually turn white. Women blink nearly twice as much as men. The Jeep comes from GP, the Army abbreviation for general purpose. Right-handed people live on average 9 years longer than left-handed people do. There are 2 credit cards for every person in the United States. Cat's urine glows under black light. A quidnook is a person who is eager to know the latest news and gossip. Leonardo da Vinci invented the scissors, the helicopter, and many other present-day items. In the last 4,000 years, there are no new animals that have been domesticated. 25% of humans' bones are in feed. On average, 100 people choke to death on ballpoint pens every year. Repeat. Canada is an Indian word meaning big village. Only 1 in 2 billion people will live to be 116 or older. Rape is reported every 6 minutes in the United States. That's sad. The human heart creates enough pressure in the bloodstream to squirt blood 30 feet. A jellyfish is 95% water. The world's longest snake, by reliable documentation, is the reticulated python with a maximum length of perhaps 30 feet. Common cobra venom is not on the list of top 10 venoms, yet it is still 40 times more toxic than cyanide. The venom of an Australian brown snake is so powerful that 1/14,000th of an ounce is enough to kill a human. Truck driving is the most dangerous occupation by accidental deaths, 799 in 2001. Banging your head against the wall uses 150 calories an hour. Repeat. Elephants only sleep for 2 hours each day. On average, people fear spiders more than they do death. Repeat. The strongest muscle in the human body is the tongue. The heart is not a muscle. It's an organ. In golf, a bow derrick is a score of 10. Well, that's a bad score. In the U.S., frisbees outsell footballs, baseballs, and basketballs combined. That's hard to imagine. In most watch advertisements, the time displayed on a watch is 10:10. If you plant an apple seed, it is almost guaranteed to grow a tree of a different type of apple. Al Capone's business card said he was a used furniture dealer. The only real person to be a Pez head was Betsy Ross. There are 450 types of cheese in the world. 240 come from France. A dragonfly has a lifespan of 24 hours. Repeat, and it might be wrong. In Iceland, a Big Mac costs $5. A Big Mac cost $5.50. That's crazy. Alright, it's time for a drink. I am sorry. I'll give you some drinking sounds for people who like that. I'm not big into it, but if you are, I'll let you have it. Why not? When I'm doing drinking sounds, I don't know whether it's better to hold the microphone up to my mouth or my throat. I would think my throat, but now I'm gonna have to clear my throat 1,000 times. Let me see if I can do it quietly. Okay. So we learned that a Big Mac costs $5.50 in Iceland. Broccoli and cauliflower are the only vegetables that are flowers. There is no solid proof of who built the Taj Mahal. A survey of 200,000 ostriches over 80 years. Not one tried to bury its head in the sand. Somebody had a lot of time to survey 200,000 ostriches in 80 years. A dime has 118 ridges around the edge, a quarter has 119. Judge Judy has a salary of $25 million. Sanders was an ordained Presbyterian minister. In America, you will see an average of 500 advertisements a day. Advertisements a day. John Lennon's first girlfriend was named Thelma Pickles. We already learned that, and that's a stupid fact. You can lead a cow upstairs, but not downstairs. The average person falls asleep in 7 minutes, not me. The sixth sheep sick is said to be the toughest tongue twister in English. I would agree. There are 336 dimples on a regulation U.S. golf ball. In UK, it's 330. UK is always giving me less, 6 less. Not worth it. I wouldn't buy a golf ball there. But I wouldn't buy a golf ball in the United States either, because it costs like $4 for one golf ball. And then you're just going to lose it. So what's the point? Duff is the decaying organic matter found on a forest floor. The U.S. has more personal computers than the next 7 countries combined. Kuwait is about 60% male, which is the highest in the world, and Latvia is about 54% female, and that's the highest in the world. The Hawaiian alphabet has only 12 letters. In 10 minutes, a hurricane releases more energy than all the world's nuclear weapons combined. Thank you, we already know that. At the height of its power, excuse me, I just burped. At the height of its power in 400 BC, the Greek city of Sparta had only 25,000 citizens and 500,000 slaves. Julius Caesar's autograph is worth about $2 million. People say bless you when you sneeze because your heart stops for a millisecond. U.S. gold coins used to say, "In God we trust." In Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter, played by Anthony Hopkins, never blinks. That would be a tough acting job, because you have to do the scenes over and over till you get it right. You can never blink. A shrimp's heart is in its head. In the 17th century, the value of pi was known to 35 decimal places. Today, 1.2411 trillion decimal places. Pearls melt in vinegar. Lassie was played by a group of male dogs. The main one was named Pal. Nepal is the only country that doesn't have a rectangular flag. Switzerland is the only country with a square flag. Is it square, though? I know it is rectangular. Switzerland's flag. Antarctica is the only continent on which no Lepidoptera have been found. I don't know what that means. Lepidoptera. I have no idea what that means. I'm going to Google that. There are about 24,000 species of butterflies. The moths are even more numerous. About 140,000 species of them were counted all over the world. Alright, I'm going to Google what this word means. Excuse me while I do this. Sorry for the clicking. Oh, of course, it's a freaking butterfly. I don't care. Okay, so the only continent where a specific breed of butterfly is not found is Antarctica. I'm glad I know that. Gabriel, Michael, and Lucifer are the only angels named in the Bible. And Lucifer is the devil. Johnny Appleseed planted apples so that people could use apple cider to make alcohol. Abraham Lincoln's ghost is said to haunt the White House. Here's a question of the day. If you made it this far, do you believe in ghosts? I don't think I do. I've seen a lot of TV shows about ghosts, and they all seem fake. God is not mentioned once in the Book of Esther. The odds of being born male are about 51.2% according to census. Scotland has more redheads than any other part of the world. There's an average of 160 people. Not 160, excuse me. There's an average of 61,000 people airborne over the U.S. at any given moment. Prince Charles and Prince William never travel on the same airplane. was the same day because they had a rivalry between the two, a political rivalry, and I can't remember which one, but let's just say John Adams died first and Thomas Jefferson died second. But when Thomas Jefferson died, he expressed that he was upset that he died before John Adams, even though he died after, just because there was no communication fast enough for him to know, because they died on the same day within hours of each other. So, just a little fact there. Baby Ruth candy bar was named after Grover Cleveland's daughter, Ruth, not the baseball player. Dolphins can look in different directions with each eye. They can sleep with one eye open. The Falkland Isles, population 200,000, has over 700,000 sheep. It's 350 per person. There are 41,806 different spoken languages in the world today. The city of Venice stands about 120 small islands. Stands on 120 small islands. The past tense of the English word dare is durst. Beetles taste like apples, wasps like pine nuts, and worms like fried bacon. All of the words in the English language, the word set has the most definitions. What is called a French kiss in the English-speaking world is known as an English kiss in France. Wow. Almost is the longest word in the English language with all of the letters in alphabetical order. Rhythm is the longest English word without a vowel. I thought every word had to have a vowel. I think it's one of the few that don't, I don't know. In 1386, a pig in France was executed by public hanging for the murder of a child. A cockroach can live several weeks with its head cut off. Yep, we already learned that. Thank you for repeating your facts. Human thigh bones are stronger than concrete. You can't kill yourself by holding your breath. There is a city called Rome on every continent. Your heart beats over 100,000 times a day. The skeleton of Jeremy Bentham is present at all important meetings of the University of London. Excuse me while I lean back in my chair, because sitting up is uncomfortable. My chair is slightly loud, sorry. Okay, now I'm comfortable. So we're 50 minutes in, and by the bar, when I'm scrolling down this website, it looks like we're a little bit under halfway. I'm gonna guess about 2 hours. I'm gonna try to speed read a lot of these facts though, Osborne had the hiccups for 69 years. That would not be a life worth living, no offense to him. Or anybody else that has chronic hiccups, whatever that's called. A giraffe can clean its ears with a 21-inch tongue. The average person laughs 10 times a day. The Bible, the world's best-selling book, is also the world's most shoplifted book. That's funny, actually. Someone paid $14,000 for the bra worn by Marilyn Monroe in the film Some Like It Hot. Your tongue is the only muscle in your body that is attached at only one end. More than 1,000 different languages are spoken on the continent of Africa. Buckingham Palace in England has over 600 rooms. There was once an undersea post office in the Bahamas. 90% of New York City cables are recently... Okay, let me reread this. 90% of New York City cabbies, not cables, cabbies, are recently arrived immigrants. It's possible to lead a cow upstairs but not downstairs, as Neil can sleep for 3 years. Know where the English language uses rhymes with the word month. Average lifespan of Major League Baseball, 7 pitches. Our eyes are always the same size from birth, but our nose and ears never stop growing. Go is the shortest complete sentence in the English language. The pound key on your keyboard is called an octotroph. The only domestic animal not mentioned in the Bible is the cat. Table tennis balls have been known to travel off the paddle at speeds of up to 160 kilometers per hour. That would be more impressive if it was in miles per hour. Pepsi originally contained pepsin, thus the name. The original story from Tales of 1001 Arabian Nights begins. Aladdin was a little Chinese boy. Nutmeg is extremely poisonous if injected intravenously. Honey is the only natural food that is made without destroying any kind of life. The volume of the Earth's moon is the same as the volume of the Pacific Ocean. That was not me stuttering, that was me making fun of myself for struggling to say the word ocean. The volume of the Earth's moon is the same as the volume. Okay, yeah. Oh my gosh. Cephalocadal recapitulation is the reason our extremities develop faster than the rest of us. Chinese crested dogs can get acne. Each year there is 1 ton of cement poured for each man, woman, and child in the world. The housefly hums in the middle octave key of F. The only capital letter in the Roman alphabet with exactly 1 endpoint is P. The giant red star, Betelgeuse, has a diameter larger than the Earth's orbit around the sun. Wow. Wow, that's huge. Hummingbirds are the only animals that can fly backwards, excuse me. A cat's jaw cannot move sideways. The human heart creates enough pressure when it pumps out to the body to squirt blood 30 feet. We already know that. I don't know if you guys realize this, but talking for 2 hours straight is not easy. And also, I'm an introverted person, so I don't have a lot of practice of talking, let alone talking for a very long time. I'm just gonna take a little breather. I'm not gonna edit this out. Just need to not stare at my computer screen for a minute. While my throat clears up, I might take another drink. I'm also getting hungry, which is not good. I don't know if you can hear my stomach growling, but I can. Hold on, I'm just gonna wait a second. Alright, let's get a couple more out of here. I don't know if I can't, I'm committed now. I've already read probably, I don't know if I've read 500 facts. I'm about halfway down the page. just in case, I'm gonna let you know. There's probably gonna be like 900 at the end. There's so many repeated. All right, so I'm skipping the next one. Literally, there was 2 repeats in a row. The giant squid has the largest eyes in the world. In England, the Speaker of the House is not allowed to speak. Mr. Rogers would have already answered. A rat can last longer without water than a camel. I already know that. Your stomach is to produce. Nope, not reading it. A female fair will die. Not reading it. Do it. Nope, not reading it. Not reading it. Not reading it. The caterpillars of some snout moths live in or on water plants. The females of some moth species lack wings. All they can do is move. All they can do to move is crawl. If one place is a tiny amount, California consumes more bottled water than any other product. That's probably why they are in a drought, or were in a drought. I don't know if the drought ended or not. California has issued 6 driver's licenses to people named Jesus Christ. That's sad. In 1980, Las Vegas hospitals suspended workers for betting on when patients would die. Nevada is the driest state in the U.S. Each year, it averages 7.5 inches of rain. In Utah, it is illegal to swear in front of a dead person. In Salt Lake City, Utah, there is a law against carrying an unwrapped ukulele on the street. Arizona was the last of the 48 adjoining continental states to enter the Union. It is illegal to hunt camels in the state of Arizona. Wyoming was the first state to give women the right to vote in 1869. Denver, Colorado lays claim to the invention of the cheeseburger. Oh man, I could go for a cheeseburger right now. I'm getting really hungry. The first license plate on a car in the United States was issued in Denver, Colorado in 1908. The state of Maryland has no natural lakes. That has to be false. That has to be false. There's no way the entire state has no natural lakes. Illinois has the highest number of personalized license plates than any other state. Residents of Houston, Texas lead the U.S. in eating out approximately 4.6 times a week. Laredo, Texas is the U.S. farthest inland port. Rugby, North Dakota is the geographical center of North America. Butte County, South Dakota is the geographical center of the U.S. So North Dakota, Rugby, North Dakota is the center of North America, and Butte County, South Dakota is the center of the U.S. Just clearing that up for myself and anybody else who missed that. I know I'm reading fast, and you might not be able to understand this, but the point is not to learn facts. The point is to be relaxed. And if you're getting that from this video, then that's great. Louisiana's Capitol building is the tallest one of any U.S. state. Hawaii is the only coffee-producing state. 1 in 7 workers in Boston, Massachusetts, walks to work. The Dole Men's Hall of Fame is located in Carroll, Wisconsin. Gary, Indiana is the murder capital of the U.S., probably the world. I've actually driven through Gary, Indiana on the way to Chicago. That's scary. Alabama was the first state to recognize Christmas as an official holiday. The largest NFL stadium is the Pontiac Silverdome in Detroit, Michigan. I'm pretty sure the Dallas Superdome, whatever that one's called, was bigger. Isn't that like the biggest one they made? Wasn't that the rage when it came out? I don't know. Michigan was the first state to have roadside picnic tables. No matter where you stand in Michigan, you are never more than 85 miles from a Great Lake. The official beverage of Ohio is tomato juice. That sucks. Georgia's state motto is wisdom, justice, and moderation. The U.S. city with the highest rate of lightning strikes per capita is Clearwater, Florida. It is illegal to spit on the sidewalk in Norfolk, Virginia. The first street lights in America were installed in Philadelphia around 1756. The highest point in Pennsylvania is lower than the lowest point in Colorado. That's a cool fact. If you were to take a taxi cab from New York City to Los Angeles, it would is illegal to buy any alcohol on Sundays before noon. There were 240 pedestrian fatalities in New York City in 1994. Columbia University is the second largest landowner in New York City after the Catholic Church. Montpelier, I don't know how you say that. Montpelier. I don't know if it's supposed to be spoken like a French person would speak it, like Montpellier. I don't know. Montpelier, that's how I learned how to say it. There's no way it's spelled though. Montpelier, Vermont is the only state capital without a McDonald's. Maine is the only state that has borders with only one other state. I'm trying to think. I guess it's true. I can't think of any. The first McDonald's restaurant in Canada was in Richmond, British Columbia. In 1984, a Canadian farmer began renting advertising space on his cows. I wonder how much money he made on that. Probably not too much. There are more donut shops in Canada per capita than any other country. 0.3% of all road accidents in Canada involve a moose. It's a very low percent. In the Great Fire of London in 1666, half of London was burned down by only 6 people, but only 6 people were injured. In Quebec, there is an old law that states margarine must be a different color than butter. The largest taxi fleet in the world is found in Mexico City. The city boasts a fleet of over 60,000 taxis. More than 90% of the Nicaraguan people are Roman Catholic. Cuba is the only island in the Caribbean to have a railroad. Excuse me, cracking my knuckles. That's what happens when I'm bored. Jamaica has the most churches per square mile than any other country in the world. The Angel Falls in Venezuela are nearly 20 times taller than Niagara Falls. If that's the same falls that I'm thinking of, they are absolutely stunning. I'm going to look this up. Paste. No, that's not the one I'm thinking of. Never mind. It's still absolutely beautiful, but I'm thinking of a different one. Canada is the only country not to win a gold medal in the Summer Olympic Games while hosting. Sorry, Canada, you should host the Winter Games. The Amazon is the world's largest river, 3,890 miles long. The town of Calama, Chile is I keep saying is, in the Atacama Desert has never had rain. The people of France eat more cheese than any other country in the world. King Louis, let me get this right, the 19th, XIX, that's 10 minus 1 plus 10, what? I don't even know what number that is. That's not a real number. XXI would be 19, right? Alright, well, whatever. King Louis XIX ruled France for 15 minutes. The most common name in Italy is Mario Rossi. Greece's national anthem has 158 verses. Thank you for repeating that. In ancient Greece, idiot meant a private citizen or layman. Bulgarians are known to be the biggest yogurt eaters in the world. Czechs are the biggest consumers of beer per male in the world. A Czech man, Jan Hansa Zampa, holds the record for drinking 1 liter of beer in 4.11 seconds. That's ridiculous. Netherlands is the only country with a national dog. When we think of Big Ben in London, we think of the clock. Actually, it's the bell. I thought it's the tower. I don't know. The automated teller machine ATM was introduced in England in 1965. Buckingham Palace has 602 rooms. Iceland consumes more Coca-Cola per capita than any other nation. That's surprising. Until 1997, there were more pigs than people in Denmark. There's a hotel in Sweden built entirely out of ice. It is rebuilt every year. Sweden has the least number of murders annually. Go Sweden. Lithuania has the highest suicide rate in the world. I'm sorry for you, Lithuania. The country code for Russia is 007. That's funny. Russians generally answer the phone by saying, "I'm listening." That's because Russians have no emotion at all. Zero emotion. On a scale of 1 to 10, their emotion ocean is -1. The U.S. bought Alaska for 2 cents an acre from Russia. 1 in 5 of the world's doctors are Russian. Really? That's surprising. Antarctica is the only continent that does not have land areas below sea level. The people of Israel consume more turkeys per capita than any other country. Nepal is the only country that has a non-rectangular flag. It's also asymmetrical. 1,800 cigarettes are smoked per person each year in China. Respiratory disease is China's leading cause of death. There are more than 40,000 characters in the Chinese script. More people speak English in China than in the United States. Mongolia is the largest landlocked country. Vatican City is the smallest country in the world with a population of 1,000 and just 108.7 acres. In Japan, watermelons are squared. It is easier to stack them that way. 98% of Japanese are cremated. Wow. The number 4 is considered unlucky in Japan because it is pronounced the same as death. Why don't you just come up with a different name for it? Okay. The average Japanese household watches more than 10 hours of television a day. I'm sure it's worse in America. The Philippines has about 7,100 islands, of which only about 460 are more than 1 square mile in area. Yo-yos were used as weapons by warriors in the Philippines in the 16th century. Australian soldiers used the song "We're Off to See the Wizard" as a marching song in World War II. The Australian $5 to $100 notes are made of plastic. The Nullarbor Plain of Australia covers 100,000 square miles without a tree. Tasmania, Australia, has the cleanest air in the inhabited world. Wow. Greenland is the largest island in the world. The first female guest host of Saturday Night Live was Candice Bergen. In 1933, Mickey Mouse, an animated cartoon character, received 800,000 fan letters. The Simpsons is the longest-running animated series on TV. The first toilet ever seen on television was on Leave It to Beaver. In every episode of Seinfeld, there's a Superman somewhere. Okay, that's the third repeat of that. The average human brain has about 100 billion nerve cells. Nerve impulses to and from the brain travel as fast as 170 miles per hour. The thyroid cartilage is more commonly known as the Adam's apple. Your stomach needs to produce a new layer. I'm not reading it. The average life of a taste bud is 10 days. I'm about to fall asleep on this microphone. The average cough comes out of your mouth at 60 miles per hour. Relative to size, the strongest muscle in the body is the tongue. We already know that. When you sneeze, you're running up. Babies are born without kneecaps. They already know that. Right-handed people live longer. We know that. Children grow faster in the springtime. It takes your stomach an hour to break down cow's milk. Women blink. Yeah, we know that. Blondes have more hair than dark-haired people do. There are 10 human body parts that are only 3 letters long. Eye, hip, arm, leg, ear, toe, jaw, rib, lip, gum. Got through that easy. If you go blind in one eye, you only lose about 1/5 of your vision, but all of your sense of depth. The average human head weighs about 8 pounds. In the average lifetime, a person will walk the equivalent of 5 times around the equator. I don't know if that's true. An average human scalp has 100,000 hairs. The average human blinks their eyes 6,205,000 times each year. Your skull is made up of 29 different bones. Ancient Egyptians shaved off their eyebrows to mourn the death of their cats. Hair is made from the same substance as fingernails. That's true. The surface of the human skin is 6.5 square feet. Did I say hair? The surface of human skin is 6.5 square feet. 15 million blood cells are destroyed in the human body every second. The pancreas produces insulin. The most sensitive cluster of nerves is at the base of the spine. The human body is comprised of 80% water. The average human will shed 40 pounds of skin in a lifetime. Human thigh bones are stronger than concrete. There are 45 miles of nerves in the skin of a human being. Canadian researchers have found that Einstein's brain was 15% wider than normal. While in Alcatraz, first rock star to be arrested on stage. Frank Lloyd Wright's son invented Lincoln Logs. Peter Falk played Columbo, had a glass eye. Barbie's full name is Barbara Millicent Roberts, the mother of Michael Naismith of the Monkees invented whiteout. Isaac Asimov is the only author to have a book in every Dewey Decimal category. Shakespeare invented the word assassination bomb. It's believed that Leonardo da Vinci invented the scissors. Adolf Hitler's mother seriously considered having an abortion but was talked out of it by her doctor. The shortest British monarch was Charles I. He was 4 feet 9 inches. Tina Turner's real name is Annie Mae Bullock. Beethoven dipped his head in cold water before he composed. President JFK, John F. Kennedy, could read 4 newspapers in 20 minutes. Why are you reading newspapers? What's the point of that? Bob Dylan's real name is Robert Zimmerman. Sigmund Freud had a morbid fear of ferns. That's weird. Anne Boleyn, Queen Elizabeth I's mother, had 6 fingers on one hand. Orville Wright was involved in the first aircraft accident. His passenger, a Frenchman, was killed. The sound of E.T. walking was made by someone squishing their hands in jelly. Cher's last name was Sarkisian. She changed it because no one could pronounce it. Sugar was first added to chewing gum in 1869 by a dentist, William Southey. Paper was invented early in the 2nd century by Chinese eunuch. Sir Isaac Newton was only 23 years old when he discovered the law of universal gravitation. Hannibal had only one eye after getting a disease while attacking Rome. A blue whale's heart only beats 9 times per minute. A cat uses its whiskers to determine if a space is too small to squeeze through. A chameleon's tongue is twice the length of its body. A crocodile's tongue is attached to the roof of its mouth. I think we are about 3/4 of the way through. I want to get this done ASAP because I want to eat food and then I want to go to sleep. Rodent's teeth never stop growing. A shark can detect 1 part of blood in 1 million parts of water. The penguin is the only bird that can swim but can't fly. The cheetah is the only cat that can't retract. A lion's roar can be heard from 5 miles away. Emus and kangaroos can't walk backwards. Cats have over 100 vocal sounds. Dogs only have 10. A mole can dig a tunnel 300 feet long in just one night. Insects outnumber humans 100 million to 1. Shark skin has tiny tooth-like scales all over it. Chameleons can move their eyes in 2 directions at the same time. Koalas never drink water. They get their fluids from the eucalyptus leaves they eat. A cow gives nearly 200,000 glasses of milk in her lifetime. When sharks take a bite, their eyes roll back and their teeth jut out. Camels chew in a figure-8 pattern. Proportional to their size, cats have the largest eyes of all mammals. Sailfish can leap. Sailfish can leap out of water and into the air at a speed of 50 miles per hour. The catfish is the most taste buds of all animals. We already read that. A skunk smell could be detected by a human a mile away. It's getting bad again, guys. Alright. A lion in the wild usually makes no more than 20 kills a year. In space, astronauts cannot cry because there's no gravity, so the tears can't flow. The state of Florida is bigger than England. 1 in every 4 Americans have a beard on television. The average American-Canadian will eat about American/Canadian. They're not, but at the same time. The average American/Canadian will eat about 11.9 pounds of cereal per year. Man, now I want cereal. Before I wanted a cheeseburger, now I want cereal. There are over 58 million dogs in the U.S. Dogs and cats consume over $11 billion worth of food per year. Baby robins eat about 14 feet of earthworms every day. In Raiders of the Lost Ark, there is a wall carving of R2-D2 and C-3PO behind the Ark. I is the most spoken word in the English language. You is the second most spoken in the English word. Sorry about that. If you could hear that. Spain leads the world in cork production. There are 1,792 steps in the Eiffel Tower. There's a city in Norway called El. It's pretty funny. You can, if you have an iPhone, you can, or any weather app really, you can search for cities and get hell, and it'll tell you how cold it is in hell. And since it's in Norway, it's pretty cold. So you can say hell's frozen over. That's a joke. The human feet perspire half a pint of fluid a day. An Olympic gold medal must contain 92.5% silver. There are 240 dots on an arcade Pac-Man game. The San Francisco cable cars are the only mobile national monuments. Lee Harvey Oswald's Godiva tag sold at auction for $6,600 in 1992. A pound of household flies. A pound of houseflies contains more protein than a pound of beef. The average American works 24,000 hours in their lifetime just to pay their taxes. 40% of all people who come to a party in your home snoop in your medicine cabinet. I don't know if that number's right. A duck's quack doesn't echo, and no one knows why. Non-dairy creamer is flammable. Pinocchio is Italian for pinehead. There are more than 10 million bricks in the Empire State Building. Wow. That was all of the facts. I am going to just go out on a limb and guess that was not 1,000 facts. This video is not even as long as my 450 fact video, so it is probably lies, all lies, but that's okay. I'm gonna call it 1,000 facts anyway, so don't blame me. If you're still here, I applaud you. Please leave a comment.